What's up? Hello,
Hey.
everybody. How are you?
I am attempting to make a cocktail instead of drinking wine. And let's just say I just got agave nectar all over me and now I'm sticky. I need someone to lick it off.
Usually people have to pay extra for that.
And I've got to shake it. So maybe I should mute myself, or do we want to hear the shake?
Oh, no. Let's hear the shake. This is ASMR all the way.
How long do I shake it? Normally Double H does this.
I don't know. I probably shouldn't follow you while you're doing it.
I know. I'm like going, do I do it like this?
However you want to do it. However you want to do it is
my favorite week of the year.
Oh, I can't believe that we're week to week now. But I'm excited about it. I'm happy about it.
I am too.
It's going well thus far.
I mean, I love the fact that you get to publicly see me every week.
Right?
I didn't do so good.
Oh no! What, pouring
in it? That's a small cocktail.
Oh, is it?
And I have my cute little heart things on it. It's like half a glass.
You've got a kiddie pool cocktail. That's what that is. That's a kiddie pool cocktail.
That's like 4 ounces of alcohol. Okay, maybe I forgot an ingredient.
It's not enough for this case tonight.
Well, I may have to like text Double H and ask him to bring me some wine or something. But that means maybe it's too strong. You know what? I forgot. I only did 2 ounces of pink grapefruit juice instead of 4. So that means it's just extra strong.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. Extra strong's good. We're good with that.
And then I've got little hearts.
Little hearts.
Because it's Valentine's.
Sounds yummy. Is it yummy?
I don't know. I haven't tasted it yet.
Yummy? Oh my gosh. Get in.
Oh.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
I'm glad I'm not adding anything else to it.
But for now, I don't know if we're gonna have a fun end of show.
No, Double H might get lucky tonight.
Oh geez. Oh man. He's in like Flint.
So, I have to ask, it's my favorite week of the year. Please don't disappoint me. Do you have any wonderful plans with Mrs. True Crime?
Well, you're going to be disappointed. No, not entirely. We're kind of getting busy. Getting busy. We're busy getting.
Are we going to make me a little baby Brew Crime girl?
Absolutely not. So we're cleaning and organizing and packing, but it's not exactly out of the ordinary because our 10th anniversary came and went, and we wouldn't have thought about it if my mom didn't text us. But we're making up for it. We're going away without the children, and what a case to go away on, and you'll figure out why in a second. But I know you're having a big shindig planned or something big. What is your plan? And
so it is our
Double H successfully navigated.
It's our 5th annual Valentine's shindig here since we moved to this area. This year we've added 2 extra couples, and we're doing a progressive Valentine's Day. So instead of it all being at my house, like my girlfriend Catherine texted me and she goes, "Does it look like Cupid threw up in your house?" And I'm like, "No, because we're only doing cocktail hour. Our neighbors and our friends across the street are doing appetizers. And then our other friends down the street, they're doing dinner, dessert, and games. And the other couple who lives in Austin is bringing the dessert. But we are providing the cocktails. Can I tell you what the cocktails are?
Yes.
Okay.
Please.
If anyone is offended by foul language, close your ears. So
you're listening to the wrong stream.
That's true. Cocktail hour at our house. We are having Pussy Passion martinis. I couldn't find the dry ice, and I'm not driving 30 minutes to get dry ice. Then what I'm drinking right now is the Dove Love Paloma. So I wanted to try it. Whoops.
Okay.
And I just dropped my earpiece, but that's okay. I don't need to hear. Then we're having raspberry pop rock margaritas.
Whoa. Whoa.
I can hear again.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
So the
That
rim
sounds
has
amazing.
pop
What a
rocks.
lineup.
So when you go to drink it, you'll get the
Ah,
pop rocks and they'll pop in your mouth.
the old rim job.
The old rim job. And of course, I made cherry jello shots. Yeah, we're not going to the
Oh,
rim
man.
job. Yep. Because
Too
remember,
much. Too much.
Amanda, or no, Amber, Mike's wife from Brew Crime, I am Sparkle Puss, and you are
Right.
Sparkle Rim or Glitter Rim.
I don't remember
You were
the second
something like
part,
that.
but I'm gonna take your word for it.
So, but anyway, it's Love Week.
Listen,
I just have to say one thing. Please
yo,
tell me you at least got Mrs. Brew Crime a card for Valentine's Day.
my love. Yes, absolutely got her my love. 100%.
No, you got her a card?
Sure. I have
Some
it in my side
chocolate?
table. Shh.
Some chocolate?
No, she doesn't not do a lot of the chocolate thing stuff.
And what about the
So, and
littles?
why flowers? Because we'll be leaving for a while. So, yeah.
What about the littles?
The littles, they're putting together their Valentines for right now. Their
No,
entire
what?
life is Valentine's Day.
Okay, we're gonna have to work on this. So next year,
Okay.
I will get with you and I will send you stuff the week before for you to give the littles. Because like when my kids were
Listen.
growing up, I made heart-shaped pancakes for breakfast and I made them little
Oh,
baskets. And I bought necessities. Like I would buy a red t-shirt, I would buy them red underwear, little white socks with red trim on them because
yeah,
I was a
Carrie's
single
good with
mom.
that. Yeah. Yeah, Mrs. Bruce Crime's good with that. You know?
Okay, so okay, I should have just thought of that. She's
Typically,
got it taken care of.
probably. But listen, I didn't come prepped to talk about doing those things, but I did before we get started. Could I just tell you a few things I learned about Valentine's Day that maybe some people don't know?
As long as it's
Maybe you
happy
might not know them.
Valentine's Day stuff and it's not
Okay.
gonna ruin V-Day for me. Because it's not
I don't think
VD
so.
Day.
Not much.
It's V-Day.
No, not that day.
Okay.
No. All right, so Valentine's Day also has pagan roots alongside its connection to Saint Valentine. It may have
Mhm.
originated in Lupercalia, a festival of fertility celebrated on February 15th in ancient Rome. Now, Lupercalia was dedicated to the Roman god of agriculture, Faunus, and the founders of Rome, Romulus and Remus. It was celebrated with animal sacrifices and gently slapping women in crop fields with goat hides dipped in blood, which was thought to help fertility. What do you
Okay.
think?
The fact that animals were involved and you just took goat hides and did something with Jasper's hides. Did you not think
Well,
about
not
that?
Jasper. This was a while ago. This was. I don't think Jasper's lifespan spans back that far. But the
Yes.
second thing and the last thing I have is the first mass-produced Valentines didn't arrive on scene until the 1840s. Known as the mother of the American Valentine, Esther A. Howland sold cards with lace and ribbons that commercialized Valentines in America. So it's Howland's fault, not Hallmark, but Howland. So if you want to find somebody, you go ahead and ancestor ask Jeeves that and figure out where they're at.
Now, did you know to take that a little bit further? Now, my grandmother told me this, so I'm going to just say I don't know if it's a fact, but my mama said it, so it's fact to me. That for families that didn't have money to go buy that lace and stuff, because it was expensive at the little general store, you could cut the lace
Yeah,
off of your underwear,
there it is.
and then
I
you
was
could
waiting
use
for it.
cornstarch. Then you could use cornstarch if you didn't have glue and put it on the card or the paper to put it on there and decorate it.
Do you wash it first?
Absolutely. I
All
mean, I
right.
would think
Well, listen. Now that I have completely sidetracked us, which I do fantastically, and I know you totally love me for it.
we do.
let's talk a little bit about what's coming up, maybe. So welcome everybody. You know, if we didn't say that already, I'm JT, and I'm here with my co-host. I'm pointing the wrong way, that way.
And I am Teri True Crime. And I'm going to just warn you, I like this drink a whole lot. I would say this would be a great shot. Uh-oh, Lady in Gray says, I have to say, I really like JT's shirt. I mean, to the point I want one.
This is a shirt that I was given for an 80s themed night that is going to be happening where I'm going. I still don't want to ruin the whole joke that's about to come up. So, but yes, this would be 80s. This is like DZ, the Discovery Zone, and Saved by the Bell just vomited all over my shirt.
So it reminds me of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I forget what his name was. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was his name. Okay. Well, I want to remind everybody before we get off track to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And if you're listening to this as a podcast, I'm going to say, come on over to True Crime and Wine Time on YouTube, because then you can still listen in your car shamelessly, and you can hear all of the antics 2 weeks before it releases on the podcast, because there's a 2-week delay on the podcast. Mm-hmm. And if you like and subscribe, I'm going to say, if you're listening on the podcast, come on over to YouTube and watch us, because let me tell you, JT and we be looking funny. And we make some faces that when I'm watching the videos back and it freezes for a second, I'm like, why is my mouth open like I'm putting a banana in it? My mouth will be like, ah! And I'm like, why do I do that like in every episode?
It's because of the cocktail. That's all. Listen, I'd like to encourage everybody. What?
Tail? It's a cocktail?
Yeah, right. Tail. Oh, jeez. All right, listen, I want to encourage everybody that to become a member, hit the join button. We are going to be doing a special live show for members March 21st at 9 p.m. So members are in for a treat. And it's not me. They wouldn't let me this time.
Well, what's
this
even
is your treat.
better?
This.
That's the treat. You know, I've already had 2 glasses of wine, so I need to be really careful. But if we lived closer, I could say I would bring the chocolate for the treat, but if not, that's okay. But the good news is, the exciting news, we're doing a live show in the Austin, Texas area, Dripping Springs, Texas, on May 3rd. But channel members, you're going to get to see the live stream. Now, I'm going to ask the channel members to please be kind to us, because we're figuring out the live stream, and it's going to be on the phone, but we hear it's going to be fun. And I say we hear because I have this little voice in my head saying JT's going to make us fabulous. Right? Right?
Totally.
And then
100%.
I am going to have a special guest interview with Brian Joseph, who's the author of Vegas Concierge, on Thursday, February 20th. And his website is www.vegasconciergebook.com, because I will be hosting that night solo. And JT will explain more later as to why.
Yeah. So
what you drinking?
Yeah. I decided, considering our case, to go with something from a winery called Sea Glass Wine Company. And this wine was vinted and bottled in Napa and Lodi. Is it Lodi or Lodi?
It's Lodi, California. I love Lodi,
California. It's called Central Coast. It's a Pinot. It's about as crisp as it gets in terms of a white and a Pinot. It says the flavors are ripe pear, apple, and hints of tangerine, but we'll go with that. Listen,
I have to
Hmm?
stop you real quick. I want you to just look at the comment. So, Elbow Feet
elbow feet.
says a couple more and Teri will be making Valentine's grandma style. So, is he saying I look like a grandma?
I don't know. You're gonna have to ask him a little later on.
Oh, maybe I'll ask him tonight later.
There you go. So listen, there's something about choosing a case that occurs during a honeymoon celebration on a cruise ship when one is about to embark on a cruise to celebrate 10 years.
Whee!
I don't know whether that makes me anything other than odd. It's fine, I'm sure. Honeymoons are the time when couples escape the chaos of wedding planning to bask in the glow of marital bliss. Beaches, sunsets, champagne romance distilled into its purest form. If you're me, Disney World and Universal. I mean, I guess the problem is that it just was not so for Karen Waltz and Scott Roston. Their honeymoon wasn't so much the Notebook as it was Ghost Ship. But there's more to this than just the case that interests me. The sheer inability of Scott Roston to take ownership of what he did and the audacity of him to come up with the excuses and alibis he did. Just wait for it. Good grief. And you're going to see what I mean in just a little bit here. And I want you to tell me what you're drinking.
Well, first I want to know, is this your first cruise?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Oh, for sure.
Oh my God, that is so exciting. So, like I said, I decided
about.
Oh, it'll be great. So, I decided to skip wine week and instead decided to try out one of the cocktails I'm serving for our Valentine's Day couple thing. So, it's a Dove Love Paloma. It's supposed to be 2 ounces of jalapeno tequila. I did 4. Fresh lime juice, and then it's supposed to be 4 ounces of grapefruit juice. I only did 2 of the grapefruit juice, and then agave nectar. So I decided
Which ended up
this.
more on your hands.
I know it did, but it's pink, but it's also a tad bit spicy. Valentine's Day shouldn't be all sweet. There should be something spicy too, and it can't always be me.
That's okay. I'll do it this time.
So, now I have to tell you, I hate everything about this case. I'm gonna just be honest. Like I said, I'm one of those crazy people. I love everything about Valentine's Day. It's truly my favorite holiday. I know Sammy Sunshine's not here tonight, but I'm sorry. Valentine's Day surpasses her Christmas. And if she watches this on replay, I'm sure I'm going to hear it. Those are be fighting words. I mean, even Double H proposed to me on Valentine's Day because he knew how much I loved it. And I told all my friends he wouldn't propose on Valentine's Day because it's too cliche. And he did because he didn't think so. But I want you guys to realize I don't see Valentine's Day as just a day of love between couples. I believe it's the love you have for your families, your friends, your community, your fur babies, and of course, that person that you want to knock boots with. But I mean, I even get my animals Valentine's Day presents. I even got my mother-in-law's cats Valentine's Day presents.
Oh.
Oops. But I also love cruises, and the fact that this case takes 2 things I love and turns them totally dark, horrific, just really makes me dislike Scott Roston even more than I normally dislike douchebags. And I haven't even said that it's also their honeymoon, because your honeymoon is supposed to be a time that you probably are the most in love. It's a time to celebrate your love. Your honeymoon, I mean, you're not. Oh my God, I just got interrupted because I just saw Elbow Feet say he's not putting on lingerie for his pets. I just want to say
that we know of.
if you do, I want photos. That's all I'm going to say. I want photos. I want photos.
And
But
I think
anyway,
I heard in the distance, challenge accepted. That's what I heard in the distance.
I can't wait. But like I said, your honeymoon is before the kids, before the bills, before the drama, and it's a time to take a break after all the planning and stuff. But apparently, Scott Roston forgot to look up the meaning of a honeymoon. He also forgot to look up how not to be a douchebag. So I hate everything
Yeah,
about this
yeah,
case.
yeah. Yeah, so we present to you tonight The Murder of Karen Waltz by Scott Roston, or Blown Away, the hot air defense of Scott Roston.
He's the hot air. Let's just be honest. He's the hot air. Well, I want to tell you about Karen. Guys, to get started, Karen Waltz. Excuse moi. Besides the fact, I know we don't like to talk about the way people look, she was stunning. So, I mean, she was beautiful. But when she was younger, she dreamed of being a ballet dancer. And my first thing about that is that's a lot of work. I don't know if people realize being a ballet dancer is a lot of work, but she was successful when she was younger in ballet. She could have probably taken it farther, but she grew up with her sister in Florida. They were raised by a single mom. We're talking a single mom who did everything she could to make sure her girls had some of those extras. But because they didn't have a lot of money, but they had lots of love, and that's what matters.
I love that so much. But as a kid, I'd be looking at mom saying, I can't eat love, mom. You just don't understand. Gosh. And then I'd go back to my room and type in my Angel Fire diary.
Okay, but see, you were special. You had whatever that Angel Fire diary was, which I've never heard of.
I don't know either.
We
I
will
do, but I don't.
save that for another day. But
Sure.
as we'll see when we learn about Scott, there's not a lot of information about Karen's early life because let me just tell you guys, she never grew up wanting to be featured on a podcast. That was never her
No.
plan. So why did she need to put everything out there, right? Now, Karen and her sister, their dad left when they were young, but her sister said Karen felt abandoned by her father when he left, which I'm going to say I know a lot of people who are that way. Some people call it daddy syndrome, but when you don't have that male figure in your life, you crave it. You crave that love. Now, Karen found love. So she dated a young guy named Troy for years. And we're talking like 4 years. And why are you laughing at me?
I just want to see if anybody wants to guess what he was like. I mean, like, I'm sure he was a totally fine guy. But anybody with the name Troy reminds me of this high school classmate I once had who he sounded like this. Hey, I'm Troy. That's NC.
So he didn't. He
Um,
was a lovely guy that did like woodworking and construction. And I'm going to tell you, I watched a reenactment video of this story. Reenactment Troy was pretty sexy. So I don't know if he looked like real
well,
Troy, but reenactment Troy was pretty hot.
sure.
I mean,
They always ask for the normal guys, and then they go for, Joey from I Think Not.
oh, Joey just had a birthday.
He did. Happy birthday, Joey.
Happy birthday, Joey. But Karen went to massage school, and her sister said she fell in love with being a masseuse. She loved everything about it because she liked the healthy aspect of it, helping people relax and all of that. Now, she got a job at one of those high-end resorts. And her sister said she thrived in her position where she had customers who came back and asked for her, which that's a big deal because I will tell you,
Yep.
I like to get massages. There's only been 2 places I've gone that I liked my therapist enough that if I go back there, I ask for their name. So that says a lot. Now, look at how cute she was, but she was so bubbly, outgoing. They also said she was very kind. And because they grew
Mhm.
up in Florida, they spent a lot of time at the beach, which I'm saying Florida is a shit show right now, but growing up in Florida on the beach is not a bad thing. And she was a great swimmer. She loved the ocean. Now, one problem she had, or I see it as a problem, she liked to run 10 miles a day, and
And I
nobody was
say,
chasing her with a
get it,
chainsaw.
girl, get
Yeah,
it.
no. Something was wrong because people don't come at me. I just don't understand why people run if nobody's chasing you. Just jump in a pool and swim laps. It is so much better for your knees. You don't sweat as much.
No, no.
So, just saying. Well, now we're going to talk about douchebag. Oh, I'm sorry, Scott Roston. That's my new nickname for him, in case anyone was wondering. So
Ugh. Ah.
he was born and raised in the Bronx, and there's not a lot online about him when he was younger. Now, he did get a degree to be a chiropractor from a school in Georgia, and his dad, okay, first of all, let's look at that hair. That hair is a red flag. Just going to say it's a red flag. But this isn't so much when he was younger, but we're going to find out as we get into this case. He still lived at home with his parents. Uh-oh. What? A murderer named Scott? That almost never happens. Elbow Feet is on fire tonight.
Hot takes. Hot takes.
Oh, ladies and grace, that is a 70s porn stash.
With
But
a
he
photo that
lived
was
at
taken
home
in the 80s.
still with his parents.
Yeah, we'll get there.
But like I said, he did go to
So wait,
college to become a chiropractor.
he got a degree. How can you get a degree and not finish it up with a license? It's like it's like running a marathon, getting to the corner just before the finish line, and then deciding, nah, I'll just live here now. We're good.
Well, it's kind of like you go to law school and you get your degree, but you still have to pass the bar. So chiropractor's kind of the same thing. You can get your degree, but you have to actually pass a state exam. So each state has their own exam and you have to pass the test.
Ah,
So, but I am going to say the thing about Scott. I mean, he was a guy that they said had ambition, but I'm going to just say he did not have any boundaries. Okay. And I'm going to just say he was an unlicensed chiropractor. Nowhere could I find whether or not he ever took the test. Elbow Feet is killing me. He couldn't quite crack it. Okay, the only thing that would
don't
make
jump.
it didn't if it said he couldn't quite quack it.
But crack. He's a chiropractor.
I know, but
Crack.
he's black.
Okay. Oh, okay. Listen. I don't know why I'm even here. Elbow Feet's got all my jokes for tonight. Just
I know. I'm loving it. But they do friends and acquaintances of Scott's described him as charming but intense and a man who could talk his way into anything but left chaos in his wake, like most men.
like like a tornado with a law degree. He'd be the guy who'd kind of charm his way past security, and you think, wow, this guy belongs here, and he has it under control. And then, bam! The next thing you know, the copier's on fire. Someone's crying in a corner, and the office goldfish is floating upside down in a cup of coffee. not from real experience.
You
Maybe.
saying that reminds me of, and I just totally forgot the serial killer's name that was an attorney. The good-looking one. He killed people in Florida. He escaped out of oh my God, I gotta stop
Ted Bundy?
drinking.
No, he wasn't an
Bundy,
attorney.
thank you. Bundy
Oh,
went
but
to
you are
law
talking.
school.
He was an attorney. Our
Did he ever
producer is
pass the
shaking her
bar?
head. Yes, you idiot.
But did he pass the bar? I don't
No, I
think
don't
he
think
ever
so.
passed the bar.
No, he
I
never
think
took the bar, but he sure as heck defended himself. That's for
okay,
damn sure.
but it's like this guy. He had a degree, but he didn't pass the bar. But we're gonna move
Yeah,
on to Scott. So Scott was also a published author.
sure.
Like someone else we know, The Storm. But he published a book titled Nightmare in Israel. And it is a book that has 3 reviews on Amazon. Guys, only 1 copy was sold before his case, and I think his mama bought it. Okay, I'm gonna just say his mama bought it, but the book accused an Israeli mental hospital of mistreatment, a claim that would resurface in bizarre fashion during his trial. But whether Scott genuinely believed in his tales or he was just a simply skilled fabricator psychopath. But I'm going to just say one thing is for certain: his life was beyond complicated. I mean, it is worse than trying to make lasagna from scratch. Why your mom gives you helpful advice over FaceTime and she doesn't even know how to use FaceTime and turn the camera on.
I I have no idea what you're talking about. I remember back when I was in Israel, there was a sign up sheet that said, "Relive the Nightmare in Israel book. Sign up here." It's very big in Israel. Then again, the sign might have said, "Please don't feed the stray cats." Context is everything. I don't know.
I didn't realize you had been to Israel.
Sure haven't, but it sounded good.
Now, we are going to talk about how Karen and Scott met. So, while Karen was working at the resort as a masseuse, Karen had a client who came in. He was going in twice a week because he had fallen and got some kind of workers' comp lawsuit. He got some money for it, and he was going to a masseuse to get worked out. My first thought is, why are you going to a high-end resort for that? And why aren't you going to the local Massage Envy, where you could probably get 4 massages for the same price? But I digress. But that's how she got to know him.
Can can you imagine his pickup lines at like a bar? Like, what a mic to drop on that one. I'd love to adjust our relationship status to "it's getting serious," or I adjust spines by day, but I'd love to adjust my schedule to make time for you. Or your posture looks great, but I'd still like to get my hands on you for purely professional reasons, of course. By the way, I don't have these. I've never used pickup lines, and I don't even know if I could do it outside of it being a joke. But here we are. It called for it. Maybe it didn't call for it, but I still gave it to you anyways.
Yeah, like I said, Scott had a recent fall, and that's why he was getting that massage twice a week. I'm sure he was
I
hoping
told
for some happy stuff at the end, but
I told you he fell for her.
now, guys, what's sad? She was still seeing Troy when she fell for Scott. I mean, but everybody said they had so much in common. They love the outdoors. I mean, basically, I think he lied and told her anything she wanted to hear. Uh-oh. What is Elbow Feet saying now? But no happy
He said,
ending.
but no happy ending at Envy. And they don't appreciate you asking. Never supporting my dad's new career again. I hope I delivered that appropriately. It felt like it.
Oh my God. But guys, what is so sad? Karen broke up with Troy after falling for Scott. I mean, I appreciate she didn't want to be a cheater, but she broke up with this guy who loved her after 4 years for this guy she met on her table.
Poor Troy. What a chimp. But also, like, he had to be thinking, like, what the hell?
I mean,
huh? Huh?
think about it. She grew up with a single mom, didn't have a lot of money. He said he was a doctor because chiropractors are doctors. And I'm going to just say, he love bombed the hell out of her. Oh my God. Yes. Lady in Gray has been a member for 6 months.
Yeet.
I would do a dance for you, but I might spill my drink.
There you go.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I'm going to answer this on speaker. It's Jeffa.
Oh.
Hey, Jeffa, you're on
Is he-
speaker and you're live on the podcast.
Oh, this is not that kind of call.
Okay. Are you okay?
Yeah, I just have something really big going on that I needed advice and possibly to connect with somebody to, like, coach and help. Just
Okay.
Women.
How about
women, it's
How
the
about I
energy
talk a little bit about Scott and what he did to Karen?
Can I
and you can
give?
go
Can
do
you
that.
give me 20 minutes?
Of course.
Okay. Bye. Love you.
All right. Bye, everybody. It's a great podcast. All right. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Guys, I should tell everybody the only reason I answered is when I was talking to my son earlier. He lives in California. He had a 2-hour drive home to LA because he went to the Valley, like gag me with a spoon. But anyway, they are getting rain, and he had a tree fall across the freeway while he was driving because they're starting to have mudslides. So I didn't want to turn my phone off because if he needs Mama Bear, he needs me. But now he just needs advice.
He's fine.
Uh-oh.
He's home.
We have my oldest bestie on who says, wait, what? Jeffa Sparks. She actually changed Jeffa's diapers.
Yeah, Jeff is our new regular. Phone call only.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but we'll go back to Scott. So he loved bomb the shit out of Karen, okay? Or that's what we call it today. I don't know what they called it back then, but he sent her flowers. He took her on fancy dinners. He took her to places that she only could dream of going. So she had friends who later said that she fell in love with what he could give her as much as she did with him because she saw him as intelligent, educated, and they said he was very charming. And he portrayed himself as having money. And that was attractive to her.
Well, I mean, first of all, looking like he did, you better have some money. But second, some people might like give give her like a hard time about this, but the reality is we all kind of want security. Bottom line is we all want security, and that's what he could offer her, or at least pretend to offer her. But to her, that was a step in the right direction.
I mean, and that's why I said there is no shame. She didn't think she was going to be going to Paris. She didn't think she was going to live in a castle. She was thinking rent would be paid, could have a car that was reliable, groceries, would be in the refrigerator. You could
Right.
have kids. So she wasn't thinking she was going to be on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Okay. She just thought, like you said, she would have some stability. Now, Scott did take her home to meet his parents. And let me remind you, he lived with his parents. Elbow Feet is on
That is
fire
not a
tonight.
Selleck stash. That is a lame attempt at a Selleck stash, but
I'm
I
gonna
would not
just
call that
say, that was not a Selleck stash. Not at all. Not at all. But his parents thought she was lovely. And his mom even was teaching Karen how to make his favorite Jewish foods. And all I can think of, What do you think when a guy takes you home who's a chiropractor, doctor, who drives a Corvette, but lives with mommy and daddy?
Here's what it reminds me of this song I know called Grand Red Flag. And it goes like this. You're a red flagged man, you're a big walking scam, a disaster from Tinder to Hinge. You've got mommy issues, won't text back then miss you, and your black hair is giving me cringe. Every date's a debate, and you're always late, yet somehow it's never your fault. Oh, you swear you're so nice, but you've ghosted me twice. Buddy, please go to therapy.
He is a red flag. I'm going to just be honest. He is a red flag. But guys, Karen learned about his book, The Nightmare in Israel. And guys, Scott said it was a true story of his time in Israel. I mean, basically, he said he was opening a chiropractic clinic, didn't have a license. Maybe over there it doesn't matter. But that mob types had him jailed because he would not help him. And that he was able to talk his way into being released. And then he went home to the US and wrote this book. Now, guys, his parents were with him and they said it happened and they had to leave with him. And all I can say is, red freaking flag.
You're a red flagged man. You're a.
I mean, yeah, just run, girl. But then around June, Scott moved to Santa Monica. And I'm going to just say Santa Monica is beautiful. Santa Monica Freeway makes a country girl blue. Okay, yeah, I can't sing. Not even going to try. But guy, he was so wealthy, he had to move in with some roommates in Santa Monica. Now, he was going there to open a new clinic, but I will say it's very expensive in California. But they did live on the ocean and he had some roommates. Now, they were doing the long distance thing. Karen was not a long distance girl. She went to see him often, but she did not love not being there every day. Now, his roommates said she was a wonderful person and that she had an old soul. And all I can say when I hear someone say somebody's an old soul, guys, don't come at me. Or if you do, go at JT. Old soul means gullible.
I do.
Old soul means
wrong.
gullible.
Don't come at me.
Go at JT.
I didn't write it.
You're going to be on a boat for a week. Let them come at you.
No, that's the opposite time. Let me be on land and come to me. Do not come to me on a boat. I can't escape. Okay?
That's true. True. But when I hear old soul, I know I threw him over the boat. No, I threw him over the edge of the boat.
Rude.
I mean,
rude.
But no, but I hear old soul and I think of gullible because you're so kind, you're so trusting, you believe everything. And that's just my thing. But let's move on. So in December, Karen flew out to California to see Scott. And I'm going to tell you, California in December is beautiful. But when she returned home to Florida, she was excited because she was showing off that ring. Scott proposed and she said yes. And guys, he proposed with a nice pear-shaped diamond. They said about 2 carats, which Karen loved. And guys, she, growing up the way she did, she was showing that ring to everybody. Okay? Because she was proud of it. But when her mom saw it, something in Mama's gut said, I think you should go and get that ring appraised so you can get insurance on it because you don't want somebody to steal it, which I respect that. But what Mama was really thinking was, I don't think that's real.
It's a smart move, Mom.
I mean, but guys, I'm going to tell you, her mom was right. Okay? It was a CZ. And guys, I am not saying there's anything wrong with the CZ or lab created diamond. I mean, I have friends who are absolutely against diamonds because of their history, blood diamonds, and things like that. But dude, be honest, have the conversation and tell her, because if she loved him, she didn't care, right? But guys, she still decided to marry him and avoid that red flag. I mean,
Oh, yeah. Oh, you swear you're so nice. What, you ghosted me twice, buddy? Please go to therapy.
yeah. I mean, it's just, but so Karen was excited. Okay. Uh-oh. Oh, JT. Oh, our producer would like to put in her resignation. Oh, not a drama llama.
No, I get to quit. You don't get to quit. I get to quit.
How about both of you just take another drink of wine and deal with it? Okay? It's Love Week. Nobody's quitting.
Done.
Nobody's getting fired. And we only kill people that deserve it. And Karen was
She
not one
says
of them.
she's pro-fish. I don't know what pro-fish is, but it's got to be better than anti-fish.
Now, guys, Karen was excited to be getting married. She started going shopping with her mom, planning for a wedding. And guess what Mr. Scott did? Mr. Scott talked her into eloping. And guys, he took her, they got all dressed up on February 4th, 1988. They drove to Las Vegas to get married. He wanted to do a day trip. So guys, this is like 5.5 hours each way. And if you get married, you do all that. I mean, worst case, it's 30 minutes if you do the drive-through. Who drives 11 hours to get married and not stay in a hotel? I mean, what's the rush?
I want to know, like, did they have plans that night? Like, oh yeah, we'll get married, but we got to be back in time for Jeopardy and a frozen lasagna.
Well,
it's time.
Apparently, when they got back to his place, his roommate saw him all dressed up, and he was like, "Oh God, y'all guys look like y'all ran off and got married." And they were like, "We did." And he was like,
"We sure did."
He's like, "Why don't I leave for the night and give you guys some space?"
Nah, you want some lasagna? Come on in.
Now, Scott had won a cruise from a radio show or something. So they were going to be setting sail in a couple of days. You know, so after they eloped, they were going to set sail on a beautiful cruise.
Is there any proof that he won it? Like, did he actually win it? Or like he said he did and this was the plan all along? I don't think I actually saw any proof, just all a bunch of things saying he just won it.
So the cruise company where he won the cruise from, they did come out and say he had won it because he had to be taxed. He had to pay the tax on it.
Oh.
Just like if you go on The Price is Right.
And it was a timeshare company.
No, but if you win stuff on Price is Right, you still have to pay the tax for it.
Right. I must 100% miss that. Oh, well, continue on. Sorry.
The way the world works. Now, they went on the cruise and they were like most honeymooners. They spent their honeymoon enjoying each other and all of the activities on the ship.
I submit that they were not. Or at least he wasn't. I'm going to go with he wasn't.
Well, most people said they didn't see a lot of them, but they did go to dinner. So for those of you that haven't been on a cruise,
That's me. I haven't been on a cruise. I feel attacked and seen and seen. I don't know. My ship's bigger than that, though. I can say
And
that much.
I'm back.
Ish.
Okay,
You're
guys,
back. Nope. Gone. Oh, you went to mute. Which is probably because it unplugged. Whoop! It's just me now. Oh, man. So, listen, here's the... Oh, wow. I feel like I'm back in night court. That's what I feel like. I feel like I'm back in night court. What?
I'm back.
Are you what? You are back.
Am I back?
We're going to put you where you rightfully belong on the top. That could have been
Who
taken
says
the
I
wrong
want
way.
to be
but
on
let's
top?
continue.
I don't always want to be on top.
Okay, we'll switch it.
But okay, we could switch it up. Now my mind is going places it should not go. Okay. But so
welcome
on a
to the
cruise
show.
ship, you can sit every night at dinner with the same people. You have a certain time, certain table, or you can go to all the other
Sure.
restaurants. So back then, they didn't have as many options as they do now. But the people that they ate with after all of this happened, they said he was very critical about her. He scolded her like a child when she would eat sweets.
No.
Or if she didn't know
No.
the right utensils to use. I mean, let's be honest. This is not freaking a 5-star restaurant. And it's not Pretty Woman.
Jeez. You're a red flag. You get it by now. Never mind. Oh, no. The microphone. Oh, I blame this ship. I blame the ship. I blame the ship. Listen, here's the funny part. You know, he kind of reminds me of a guy who books a luxury cruise or wins it with infinite buffets, live shows, and a literal water slide, and then says, you know what? This is the perfect place to start Moby Dick. Sir, the ocean is right there. You could just look at it instead of reading 800 pages about a guy thinking about it. And you sure as hell aren't getting me going to find it looking in the mirror. There is no Moby Dick in the mirror, not with a stash like that.
Guys,
I've said
I'm
what
sorry.
I said. Mic drop.
Sorry for well, I'm the mic drop girl, so I'm gonna have to get my audio guy. I am sorry for that. But anyway, guys, not a lot is known outside of that. But sadly, on the last night of the cruise, which happens to be the night before Valentine's Day, February 13th, Scott, after dinner, runs to report that Karen has fallen overboard, and yet he has blood dripping down his face. Red flag.
I'm not singing it again. I promise. That was it. You get 3 times, and that was it. Yeah, I mean, we did not exactly mean, like, we picked cases and stuff, but we didn't exactly mean for us to talk about this on the day, like 30 plus years later. But like before,
It was karma.
yeah, right. First off, great job talking about the beginning stuff. A lot of good things in there, a lot of things that we learn. But before we hop directly into the investigation, autopsy, and things like that, I think it's good to kind of talk about crimes that happen aboard ships and the procedures that ships have, because it is a little bit different. And I'm sure either you all know this because you've been on a ship, or you're interested in true crime on ships, or you don't know it at all and this will be new. So I do want to say, caveat, I am well aware that if anything happens to Mrs. Brew's Crime on my cruise, I'm in a shit ton of trouble simply because of my Google searches. I searched for this. What happens when a crime is committed on a cruise ship? And so I will definitely be the first person who will go down with said ship.
Okay.
Figuratively.
Well, let me just be fair. Maybe it's you that goes missing on the ship. And maybe Miss Brew's Crime is the one who says and kicks you off.
You know, a couple days stuck with me on a ship where she can't escape? Probably.
Well, I can promise you this. If you should go missing, or if she should go missing, all of us in the True Crime and Wine Time community, oh my God, elbow feet. Hopefully she doesn't pull a Gone Girl. Oh, is it JT going to pull a Gone Girl?
I don't know anymore.
Or what if
we both
pull a
do?
Gone Girl? Can I get
Unusual
littlest?
Gone-
Can I get littlest baby brew crime then?
Yeah, you sure. Sure.
I
Why
just
not?
promise you, we will look into everything if someone does anything to you. And I will promise you this. If she throws you overboard, we will make sure she gets off so she can raise the kids.
Okay. That works. That works. Yeah. I mean, listen, I'm fine. I'm fine with littlest Brew's Crime being Texan, but not like Texan. You know what I mean? And he has a habit of like going all out. So I don't like want the entire Texan thing. No offense.
I'll make sure he doesn't do that.
Oh, okay, cool. Perfect.
I'll make
Love
him
it.
more like Jeff.
Okay, so listen. So crimes on cruise ships. Reporting, this is kind of how this goes. It gets reported to security. Any crime on a ship is typically first reported to the ship's security team. Makes sense. Then you got flag state jurisdiction. And we're going to talk about this in a second. So put that to the side. Then you have the captain's discretion. The ship captain decides whether to divert to a port to hand over a criminal case to local authorities or handle it on board while at sea. Then you have you got things like minor offenses. So like minor offenses may result in being confined to the cabin with security monitoring, while serious crimes can lead to detention in a brig on the ship. And honestly, I've never really looked up the photo of a brig on a ship. I don't think I want to. Could be Guantanamo on a sea. I don't know. So, and then if the crime involves a U.S. citizen or occurs within U.S. maritime jurisdiction, the FBI is probably going to become involved. Now, you might say, but JT, international waters, blah, 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 blah. That's not how I hear you. It's just what I wrote. Well, I do hear you saying that, but so does the law. And what I mean by that is cruise ships can dock or be out at sea. And where the cruise ship is when the incident occurs is key to understanding which laws apply. So this area of law is called maritime law, and it's vital for anyone on a cruise to have at least a basic understanding of it. Now, in most cases, cruise ships in international waters will follow the laws of the country where the ship is registered. The ship's captain has discretion to detain a person until the ship can dock, and other law enforcement agencies can get involved. Now, any crimes that occur within 12 nautical miles, which is 13.81 miles, I did the math, of a country's shoreline, it means that that country's laws will apply. So if you're within 12 nautical miles, that country's laws will apply. If they are more than 12 nautical miles away, it's typically going to be where the cruise ship is registered. Now, maritime law is weird, somewhat country specific. The Netherlands has a law where you cannot legally claim a sinking piece of land. If an island in Dutch waters begins to submerge, it's legally considered a sinking island and can be claimed by the government. So maritime law is all over the place. But now that I have completely tossed us off course, again, very good at it, let's get back to what happened during the investigation. So, it was mentioned earlier that many people noticed tension between Kathy and Scott during the cruise. Well, during the investigation, a passenger who shared a tale with them testified that Roston was angry with Kathy because she ate sweets and didn't know what eating utensils to use, like Teri had said. Yes,
Hey,
ma'am.
hold on. Some reason I think you've had too much to drink. You've just called her Kathy twice, and her name is Karen.
What? Yep, probably.
You need
Not reading it right.
to drink some water like I'm going to, because I just almost called you Scott.
It's got to be the
See,
stash.
this is what happens when we drink before the show.
Oh my gosh, good grief. Okay. Well, here we go. Apparently the utensils was a complex setting of shipboard silverware, which I never thought was a sentence I'd ever say in my life, but here we are.
Okay, it's not, guys. On a ship, it is just like if you go to a 5-star restaurant, there's just a salad fork, an appetizer fork, a dinner fork, a soup spoon, a butter spoon, a steak or a butter knife, a steak knife. It's just all of that. But guys, just pick up whichever utensil you want to use. We're not on Pretty Woman.
When halfway through that, all I heard was
It's a cruise ship, for God's sake. You're not having dinner with the queen.
I don't know. I saw Titanic. It's very intimidating. Also, I believe in finding a two-person door frame and not a one-person door. Also, I'm really glad that girls don't wear petticoats anymore. All right, so listen. So
some girls do on your wedding day.
Oh, okay. Well, there's nothing I can say that is safe. Roston was also seen fighting a woman on deck about 45 minutes to 1 hour before he reported that his wife had gone overboard. In the early morning of February 13th, 1988, Scott told inconsistent stories about how his wife went overboard. He first tried to tell the investigator, who that was, we are going to get to shortly, that she was blown overboard. Blown overboard. Now listen, in this account, Karen decided to take a moonlit power walk around the upper deck jogging track. Partway through the walk, he stopped because he went with her to rest. So he stopped to rest. She charged ahead. The next thing he knew, he heard, "Scott, help, 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 help." And he found her dangling from a railing over the water. And before he could get to her, she lost her grip and fell. First off, Karen was 5'3". The railing over which she fell was 3'6". And it should also be told that the wind was reported to be 4 or 5 miles per hour that night. This, because I looked it up, I can tell you, this is considered a light breeze where you feel it on your face and the leaves rustle. So unless Karen was code for a rogue leaf, this isn't what happened at all. If nobody heard a chihuahua barking at the leaf rolling by, this is not a thing. Not a thing. Not a thing.
I mean, it is beyond laughable because this guy is dumb if he thinks a 4 or 5 mile an hour wind can blow a person overboard. It took 65, 75 mile an hour winds to pick up a trampoline and blow my trampoline in the backyard. It weighs less than a human. It's a little bitty trampoline.
Yeah.
He's stupid.
Yeah. Well, listen, when Roston reported that Karen had gone overboard, his face was severely scratched. There were 3 gouges and a 6-inch gash on his face. And he said that he had hit his head on a gangway control box. Did he hit it 4 times, 3, 4 times. I don't think so. There was no blood. There was no hair. There were no other marks found on the box. So I don't think that works.
That doesn't work. I'm going to just be honest. That doesn't work.
Not at all. So photographs of the box were taken, and it could be seen that there were no sharp protrusions that could have even caused the triangular gouges and a 4-inch scratch which Roston had on his face. And I don't know who created the one scratch, like who. So that would mean that he would create the one scratch by hitting the box, and then he'd say, you know what? I want a little more. And he would go back for the other 3.
Wait a minute. Maybe the wind was so strong at 5 miles an hour, it blew him into the box a couple of times. That just dawned on me.
6 times. 10 times. 15 times it could have been. I lost count. It must have hit 3 times in 3 different areas all at the same time. You know what? It was
that can happen when hell freezes over.
It was a gaggle of boxes. It was just a gaggle of boxes that just came and attacked me. Oh man. So when Roston had completed the report of Karen going overboard, he was questioned at length by the ship's. Well, can you guess who questioned him?
Dr. Ship?
Correct. Well, not Dr. Ship, not Dr. Love, not Dr. Strange, but Dr. Young. So Doogie Howser. But he was questioned by the ship's doctor. And in fairness to Dr. Young, in addition to being a medical doctor, he was deputized as a law officer in Hawaii. So, he's read some books and filled in some bubbles. Sure. The questioning took place in the captain's cabin, with the door open. During questioning, other people occasionally entered and left, and with Roston's permission, the interrogation was audio taped. Now, when the questioning ended, Roston was put in an unoccupied cabin under guard. He was never advised of his Miranda rights. Now, I looked this up, and a lot of you will be like, no Miranda rights? What? Well, guess what? See, I know you guys. I know you. Miranda rights are not required in international waters. Yeah, they're not required in international waters, but they are required in the U.S. when a suspect is arrested and taken into custody. Karen was thrown overboard 22 miles off the San Diego coast, which is much further than 12 nautical miles that I mentioned before. So, Miranda rights not necessarily needed until taken within custody of the U.S. Law enforcement. So, we're going to get in a little bit kind of, yeah. What's up?
I just thought of something and it just hit my alcohol-infused brain.
Oh.
What if they were in the Gulf of Mexico, which has now been renamed by some people? Would that be considered international waters or would that be American waters?
Well, you see, you've got to consider the nautical miles.
So it all comes down to nautical miles, no matter which ocean you're in.
We like to call them freedom units here. And I just don't know.
Okay, so like if I was in Italy, the same laws would apply. Even if I was in Italy on the Italian coast, if I'm more than 12 miles out, it would still be international waters.
It would be international waters, and while how they do things on the ship might differ, they will defer to where the ship's registered. So if the ship's registered in the U.S., they'll do things that way. If the ship's registered in the U.K., they'll do it another way. It's a whole thing. Really, here's
I'm
what
only
understand.
asking. So if Double H goes missing when we take our Italian cruise, I know what my defense needs to be.
It's a massive gray area.
Okay.
It's like a gray area within a chain link fence.
Okay.
Like there are some boundaries that you don't cross, but until then you get to those.
Don't
So
kill
listen.
anyone on a cruise ship. Got it.
That's it. So Dr. Douglas Dixon, who is a deputy medical examiner of the San Diego County Coroner's Office, testified during the trial. Now, what he reported is what I'm going to mention here in regards to the findings. Dixon performed the autopsy 10 days after Scott and Karen were married in Las Vegas.
Okay.
Faux show.
I'm going to stop you again.
Mhm.
10 days after they got married. Okay. I want everybody to stop and think about that. 10 days after you say I do, your autopsy is being performed.
Yep.
That is absolutely horrific.
I mean, yes, 100%. It is terrible. Here's my question. You know, if you're married by a pastor or somebody versus Elvis, is the time different? So, like, if you're married by Elvis and you're Britney Spears, it's not going to last very long. So maybe this was long. What's the officiant to marriage length ratio?
Well, in Vegas, or at least when we lived there, they were all some type of ministry type thing. So they were the same as going to a judge and getting done. But you know what I just thought of? Her autopsy was 10 days after. Aren't you going on a cruise to celebrate your 10-year anniversary?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do we see the correlation
So-
with the math number?
Listen, first off, producer said no marriage math. I think that's
like
really
gas
her way of
math.
saying don't grab your shovel and start digging. So listen, I have been very open about us covering this case tonight with Mrs. Bruce Crime, and every time she's just like, "Oh my god, oh my god."
Could you tell her to call me? Because, I mean, I love you dearly, but I need to make sure she's safe on this cruise. And I have girl code over podcast host code. So I'm going to just have to admit, I got to have her back.
Fair. Fair.
So I just tell
hope
her to call
everybody
me
does.
and I will make sure she doesn't do it on a cruise ship. Because what I'm hearing, the laws are just too convoluted. And yeah, let's just not.
All right. So listen, we're gonna get kind of a little bit dark. Because that's just what I do. I just take cold water and toss it on everything. So the doctor found that Karen was actually choked to the point of unconsciousness, and then she was thrown overboard. Now, Dixon found large red marks on Karen's neck. He said that she was alive when she suffered most of her cuts and bruises, and she was still breathing when she hit the water off the ship Star Dancer. Bruises found on her breasts were suffered earlier than this attack. So there were things from before this as well. Which to me, and I'm not a doctor and I don't play one on TV, but to me that means that there was prior abuse to some degree.
Yeah.
Um,
Red flag.
Also was found a frothy fluid within her lungs, which indicated that she was, quote, breathing at least for some period of time while she was in the water. And her neck and eyes showed signs of hemorrhage, which argued for manual strangulation. Her neck bones also showed warping, which was indicative of strangulation. So he did this with his bare hands. Now, in addition, her clothing contained material from the jogging track on the deck, which meant that she had probably been pressed to the deck with a great deal of force. Now, during the investigation on the boat, parts of her earrings were found on the deck, along with strands of hair. Those strands of hair showed signs of having been yanked from her head. So this was violent. This was violent. Overall, though, like, what was found led Dixon to establish the cause of Karen Roston's death as, quote, choking associated with drowning. Now, just to kind of summarize the investigation autopsy conclusion, which is from U.S. v. Roston from the U.S. Court of Appeals, this is what was written. Here, there was evidence of a substantial struggle. Parts of the decedent's earrings and remnants of her hair were found on the deck 11.5 feet from the railing where she went overboard. The injury to her forehead was consistent with the prosecution's theory that her head had been smashed against the deck of the ship. The hemorrhaging and bone warping in her neck indicated she had been strangled. The cumulative effect of this evidence suggests that the decedent's assailant, over the course of a fairly prolonged struggle, intended to kill her. Moreover, the killing process continued beyond the struggle and strangling. The decedent was not dead, but only unconscious when she was pushed or thrown into the ocean. At that time, the ship was 20 miles out to sea. So, rough.
Obviously, she didn't fall overboard.
Yeah. It was not a light breeze that did it. No, I'm pretty sure the light breeze didn't do all of that. Good news. Scott was arrested in Long Beach, California by federal officers on suspicion of murdering his bride, Karen. Oh, look at that fella. Doe. You know, having talked about it now, it's so funny because, like, his picture just rings something completely different now.
Oh my gosh.
Different.
He looks like Welcome Back Kotter.
Welcome back, welcome back.
I just looked at the picture on the tiny thing and I went, oh my God, it's Welcome Back Kotter.
I appropriately wore this shirt tonight. I didn't even realize why I wore this shirt tonight, but here it is. This is why. Once arrested, Scott proceeded to give a third version of what happened to Karen, because we're not going to get just one. We're not going to get just two, but wait, there's more. There's a third. Now I'd like to present the curious case of the chiropractor, the assassins, and the bestseller nobody bought. Now, according to Roston, a man whose grasp on reality was as firm as a wet handshake, Israeli assassins had murdered his wife in cold blood. Now, not just any assassins, mind you, elite, government-trained, vengeful Israelis, who apparently had nothing better to do than take revenge on a fake chiropractor turned author from the Bronx. What?
Okay.
He told the FBI. I'm trying to imagine what he sounds like, and this is what it is. They were out for blood, he told the FBI, because last year I published an expose about their crimes. Now, it was either that or he sounded like Mr. Burns from from The Simpsons. But listen, this was, of course, devastating news for Israel, since Roston's self-published book, in which he paid Vantage Press to publish, it had shaken the very foundations of the Israeli government by, as you said, selling exactly one copy. Just one.
Like I said, his mama bought that copy.
For sure.
His mama bought that copy.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. So he said that, like, you know, to fully understand his intimate knowledge of Israeli corruption, one has to kind of consider his qualifications. As we mentioned, he was born in the Bronx to a chiropractor, already a beacon of credibility. He attended the Life Chiropractic College, which sounds suspiciously like a cult, but we assure you, is a real place. Upon earning his degree, but not, crucially, a license, he decided to seek his fortune in Israel. Because if there's one thing that this country needed in 1979, it was an unlicensed chiropractor living in Georgia. Oh boy. However, things went awry when he allegedly fell in with the Israeli mafia, who, because this is a completely reasonable and plausible thing to happen, disguised themselves as Hasidic Jews and tried to recruit him for a robbery. Now, one might pause here and wonder, what exactly does the Israeli mafia want with a chiropractor? Was the plan to crack open the safe and a few misaligned vertebrae? Whatever the case, Roston ultimately found himself in Israeli prison, a place he managed to escape by pretending to be an 8-year-old child, specifically a thumb-sucking one. Apparently with a porn stash, too. At this point, even the most gullible FBI agent must have been giving him the look. Now, you know the one. You all know the one. Ah, I see. You're fucking insane. Look, that look. Right?
Sorry, I'm going to disagree. I honestly
Okay.
think they were thinking, does this guy think we are stupid as he looks? I mean, that is my first thing. I'm like, does this guy think we're as stupid as he looks right now?
Now, listen, the biggest tragedy in all of this was that Prime Minister Menachem Begin himself allegedly feared Roston, which was news to him because he had never heard of the man. Now, it did seem unlikely, given that Roston's masterpiece of investigative journalism had only sold a single copy before the trip. But, as often the case with murderers and snake oil salesmen, tragedy does wonders for publicity. Now, by the time the trial rolled out, demand for Nightmare in Israel had soared, absolutely soared, all the way to 78 copies. A whole 78 copies of that brilliantly illustrated book, Nightmare in Israel. Also, that didn't age well. Now, oddly enough, just a few months before, quote, a Palm Beach County Sheriff's spokesman said Scott Roston's mother reported last March, which was in 1987, that he had been abducted by Israeli agents from a Florida shopping mall. Because, I have to say, if they're going to do any abducting, it's going to be from a Florida shopping mall. He just couldn't get his chinos that day. The incident was not investigated because Roston's statements could not be confirmed. Farrell said. So, he gave us some descriptions of folks. And these are the sketches.
Wait a minute. I think I know that guy on the bottom.
That's funny because I think it's one of the Menendez brothers on the top. So we're good.
Lady in Gray just said now I want to read that trash. Okay, Lady in Gray, I'm not gonna shame you if you buy it, but if you buy it, you need to agree to mail it to everybody within our community so we don't buy it more than once. Because I would like to read that trash too.
Elbow said, I work with both these guys. Is that book on the reading list? We do need a reading list, don't we? We should have a running reading list.
I do. I just finished reading Brian Joseph's book, Vegas Concierge, for the second time.
There you go. So add that to your reading list.
Can I just say the one thing I'm happy? Neither one of them look like my ex-husbands.
Ah, good. Listen, I need everybody to look under your chairs because we left the book for you. You get a book and you get a book and you get a... No. So listen, agents from the Holy Land had ambushed the couple, drugged him, and killed her during their midnight exercise session. That's what he said. He explained away his earlier story of the wind blowing Karen overboard by saying it was a drug-induced hallucination. He must have just seen the wind picking her up and tossing her over. Jeez Louise. The funny part is the wind looked a lot like Rodney Dangerfield, which makes sense with the shirt I'm wearing right now. All right. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the trial. It began in late February 1989. The defense, well, again, they were committed. They stuck to the whole Karen was murdered by Israeli men with Scott being framed defense. Has anybody ever heard of this type of defense? No, I haven't either. Not since then. So it didn't work well. In their rebuttal case, the prosecution surprised them by bringing to the stand Maurice Haziza. Now, who? It's true. Good grief. We gotta just have him on the show.
Elbow Feet said the wind equals Hasidic ninjas. Elbow Feet, I don't know what you're drinking. I don't know what you're eating. I don't know what gummies you're chewing, but whatever you're doing, could you put it in a box and send it to me, please?
It's seriously a sober observation. If I know B.
Okay, if it is sober, then he definitely needs to be on our show because he is 10 times funnier than we ever thought of being.
It's true. And now our producer is now thinking, good God, I have to live with him. All right, so
we could do something about that. I mean, if she wants to change that situation, we can be the helpline.
No, it's never sober. Not never.
Yeah, he says if ADHD is ever sober.
So in their rebuttal case, the prosecution surprised them by bringing, like I said, Maurice Haziza. Now, who is that, you might say? Well, he happened to be one of the two Israeli passengers on the boat that Scott had identified. He had identified them. That's not the right verb. Maurice testified that he was not a secret agent for the Israeli government, to which Scott said exactly what a secret agent for the Israeli government would say. No.
He's not wrong.
Maurice was actually a wedding photographer. Huh?
He's not wrong. That's what they would say.
It's true. But in this case, Maurice was actually a wedding photographer on vacation. And his traveling companion, Emil Yaron, had visited Disneyland and Universal Studios before embarking on the Mexico cruise to complete their vacation after photographing a wedding for a friend. He is a space cowboy. Some people call me the space cowboy. Some people call me a gangster love. All right, so Maurice was literally just on a vacation. He's a wedding photographer. Overall, the jury was pretty unimpressed. Now, I mean, I can believe that. Can you believe that? Well, what the hell would they expect from this guy?
No, because if I was on the jury, I would have been like, why do we even need to go and deliberate? This guy is an idiot. And I am sorry, guys. I just saw that Sammy Sunshine arrived. Oh, Sammy, do not go back and watch this on replay because if you do, you're going to come at me because I said Valentine's is more important than Christmas. Anyway, we're just going to move on there. But I think he's insane.
Yes. But the right thing is that Scott did not testify in his own defense, so that's good. So they only had information they were given to go off of. And even if he did testify, I mean, come on. In the end, the jury found Scott guilty of second-degree murder on the high seas. Now, at sentencing, the court saw forensic evidence collected from the ship's upper deck, as well as the condition of Karen's body. This showed that Karen was severely beaten and strangled before her body was thrown overboard. Now, the U.S. District Judge James Eidman sentenced him to life in prison without parole, observing, quote, "This is one of the cruelest crimes this court has ever seen. It is the court's hope that this defendant never is released." Now, in November of 94, I wish, in November of 94, Scott Roston appealed his sentence, and the court sustained the conviction but remanded for resentencing. And they said, quote, "The appellate opinion noted by imposing a life sentence, the trial court had applied the penalty required under the federal sentencing guidelines for first-degree murder, even though the defendant was only convicted of murder in the second degree." In November of 94, Scott Roston was resentenced to a term of 33 years, 9 months. Roston appealed again in 99. That appeal argued that the 405-month sentence imposed during the first appeal was unwarranted. The court was inclined to disagree. Yeah, disagree.
Well,
So
I often disagree with judges because I'm sorry. You kill your bride of 10 days, you lie about it. Oh, now it's just me. Great. I love it. So you lie about it. You should not get 33 years. I'm sorry. They should take into account the severity of what he did to her, all of his lies. He tried to throw an entire country, blame them. No, I'm sorry. He gets life without parole in my book. But guys, I've got bad news. Scott was released from prison July 8th, 2017. Yes, you heard me right. That POS is out. So he has stayed out of the public limelight since he was released, but I'm sure he is still love bombing someone, but I don't know. But y'all know how I like to go dig and find information. So he currently lives in North Hollywood, and he's lived there for the last 6 years. Guys, I have his address, but he is 73 years old, and I'm guessing he's living off of his parents' estate because I could not find where he's worked or has done anything. But I also found his email when I found his address. And I have sent him an email. We will see
wait.
if he responds. I sent him a picture of me and said I would like to chat with him because I think he got railroaded.
Probably did in prison. Listen, I didn't know that. You said, did he let you know that he opened it up with all those red flags? Maybe he's just waiting to win another cruise before he reaches out to you? Actually,
He might.
I think
maybe
after all my jokes tonight, I don't think you can expect a reply. Oops.
maybe I can send him an email telling him he won a free cruise.
And it's called
And
True Crime and Wine Time.
Exactly.
This is, listen,
But I mean,
2026
he's
idea,
73.
2026 idea and goal. We do a True Crime and Wine Time cruise, and he is a guest.
I'm just
And you
gonna
will
tell
never
you,
see me on the top deck.
I'm like, I can never fake it for a 73-year-old who looked that bad in his heyday charming days. I'm going to just be honest. I can't. But if he does respond to me, I will let you know. And if anybody wants his information, if you send me a DM on social, I will tell you where to go and find the information so I don't get in trouble. It is public information. I did find it on a free public site. Then I used one of my paid sites to verify it was true. And he had received mail there in November of last year.
Kelly P said the cruise is out of Vegas.
Okay, even better.
Oh God.
We have a captain. Captain has been
we've
the
got a captain.
cruise director. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
She had.
I'm going to
It's true.
say
It's
Elbow
true.
Feet's funny, but God, thank God he's pretty because he wants to know how could there be a cruise out of Vegas? He's so pretty.
Pretty.
Oh,
Okay, so let's we've come unglued, as one would say. Scott Roston's case is a great depiction of how to not commit a crime. He made every mistake in the book, including his book, That Was a Crime Itself. You know how OJ wrote, If I Did It? I'm thinking his book would be titled, How Not to Do It If I Did It, which I know you know, and that I know that you know. It's okay. You can always go back on the replay and make sure that makes sense. Now, Karen's death reminds us of the dangers, and this is serious. It reminds us of the dangers of intimate partner violence. Now, behind the dark humor and the absurdity of Scott's lies is a young woman who lost her life at the hands of someone that she trusted and that she loved. And in the end, the killer wind didn't get Karen. Scott did. And while the Star Dancer sails on in memory, this honeymoon is forever going to be remembered as a grim warning that love and trust, when placed in the wrong hands, can lead to devastating consequences. So I say, with the final bit of this bottle of wine, here's to love, trust, and the occasional background check.
Occasional. I'm going to just tell you straight off the bat, if you are going out with somebody, before I would let Double H pick me up for first date at my house, he gave me his information so I could do a background check on him. You are not coming to my house as a single mom with 2 kids. And I gave him my background check. I am sorry. The world, when I say watch out for crime, when I end things, what I'm saying is don't be stupid. If you meet a guy in a bar and you're out with your friends, even back in the days when I went to bars, and if I wanted to go home with a guy, you get the guy's ID, you give it to your friend. He doesn't get an ID back until they get me back.
That's brilliant.
I mean, now you have a cell phone. But back then, we didn't have that
None of
shit.
my friends have ever come up with that. I love that.
You don't. You've got to realize, because all of us who say it will never happen to me, we're the ones it's going to happen to because we think that. So just always remember that. And I'm going to just tell you, Scott Roston, he lied. I think he spun a tale. I think his parents believe him about what happened in Israel. And I just want to look at them and say, oh, bless your parental hearts. It's like those parents who say, my kid would never. I learned the hard way. Don't ever say that, because the minute you say that, you're going to have to eat crow. Okay? But he was a horrible person. There were so many red flags with him. And Karen loved him and trusted him. She saw him as a chance to have a better life. And I think he used that to his ability. And I think he controlled her, loved bomb her, and we know he physically abused her. And I just want to say, he was guilty. The evidence was overwhelming. And I think Karen deserved so much more than she got. And there is nothing wrong with wanting to have a better life. I had a friend who used to say, you can marry a rich guy just as easy as you can a poor guy. And my response is, yeah, you can always marry an asshole just as well as you can marry a good girl. So Belle asked, how long did they date before they got married? It was like 18 months.
It wasn't long.
So, but she quit her job and moved to California with him. And there for a while, she was dating Troy. So, but this story serves as another reminder of how dangerous an abuser can be when they feel their control slipping away. And I think he knew once they got back on land, the jig was up. She was going to find out there was no practice. He didn't have a license. He had no money. I read one article that said the money he won from his slip and fall, he was down to like 10 grand. You can't keep up an appearance
That's
on
a lot
10
of
grand.
money.
Huh?
That's a lot of money.
Not in California.
Okay, well, but
His
in 1980, well,
rent
yeah, probably not.
was probably back then $2,000, $2,500 a month. He had no job, didn't have a license. He didn't have a way to make money. So I think that's what happened. I mean, 6 months, 10 grand would maybe have gotten him 6 months. But I'm sure she would have been like, okay, we're married now. Why are we still living with 2 roommates? Why can't we move out on our own? If you're a doctor, why can't I go see your practice? Why can't I see the building? Why can't I mean, so I just want to remind anyone, male or female, if you're in an abusive relationship, there is help. There is ways out. And do not think that you're alone. Oh, Kelly P just asked where in California? Santa Monica, oceanfront. So I said, even back then, that's a pricey place.
Yeah, I mean, Elbow Feet said 10K and 87 is a lot of money. It is. I looked up the conversion. It's about $26,000. So it's not as much as it was. You still could not buy a dozen eggs.
Not in Santa
so-
Monica for dang sure.
I mean, they're $8.26 here. I don't know what they are in Santa Monica, but it's got to be like 16.
You're paying $8.26 a dozen? That's what we're paying for 18
Yeah.
eggs.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah. Don't worry. The prices have gone down.
Well, I'm going to just tell you, on the cruise, you're probably going to be getting powdered eggs instead of real eggs, because there's no way they can afford those real eggs right now.
That's all right. You know what? I already paid for. So whatever
Okay.
they want to give is fine.
So
I'll
going to
just
once
chase it with
again
alcohol and it'll be fine.
say, I hate this guy. I hate that he ruined cruises. I hate that he did this at Valentine's Day. I hate that he did this after being married to someone for 10 days. I hate. And he got out of prison way too soon. And I do hope he was somebody's bitch when he was in prison. And Scott, if you hear this, if for somehow this finds its way to you, call me. Love to hear your story.
Sammy Sunshine says there was a meme today that said, buy her something expensive, and the guy hands her a carton of eggs. Oh, man. All right, listen, we got to wrap this up. Everybody's got to go to bed. I have to sober up. So I'll let you know something. Listen, I am going to be away, but Teri is going to nail, like she always does, the interview. You're waiting for me to finish that sentence. I know. We're going to have the author, Brian Joseph, author of Vegas Concierge, on for an interview next Thursday at 9 p.m. And that's Eastern Standard Time. So if you were in a different time zone, you do the time zone math. I won't. And just, for you all to know, while we do have up until August, like, thought out in terms of cases and stuff, because apparently we are now organized. I love it so much. So very, very much. Well, correction. Well, hold on. I'm organized. Kind of. Teri and everybody else was always organized. But
Oh, I was getting ready to
if
say
you have an
bullshit.
idea, you're right.
Bullshit.
If you have any suggestions for cases, please send them to Tara at TCWTmedia.com. Please do that. It's a huge help to us, because then we get to cover things that you want to hear about. And that's ultimately what we'd like to do. The more we get, the more we hear from you, the better we are able to, kind of tap into what you're interested in.
And we learn about cases we haven't heard about.
Right.
Now, I do want to say about Brian Joseph next week. The book is about sex trafficking in hip hop and corruption. So I just want to tell everybody and give everybody a heads up. We're not going to get into details. He did a phenomenal job with the book. He actually interviewed a young lady who was sex trafficked, and I thought I knew a lot. I learned a lot. So I am very excited to have him on. So remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, so that way you will get notified that I'm going to be doing that interview. Okay. Now, I also would love if you would leave a comment on YouTube or on the podcast apps what you think about the case, because this case has so many feels. I mean, I think every case we cover has so many feels. So we would love to get your comments and your feedback. Also, for those of you that are not aware, I am back with Midday Missing every Monday and Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, where we cover missing person cases that do not get enough coverage. And I'm going to be honest, if you're not white, blonde hair, blue eyes, drop dead gorgeous, you're not getting the attention you deserve. So come check it out. Also, follow us on all social media. Launched. You can now find the new Midday Missing Facebook page. This is not a page where we are interacting with people. This is just a page where we are posting the missing person flyers for cases we cover. Also, with other missing person people that we react with or interact with, I should say, they will post there. So it will be a place for missing person flyers from across any missing person organization. Okay. Also, if you want to see us live where you live, send potential locations to Tara at tcwtmedia.com. We are planning out our places where we're going. We're working on coming to Ohio and to Richmond, Virginia. We're going to be here in the Austin area in May, so send those out. Kelly P., thank you for asking about Chase. Working on an update for Chase. There are some big struggles with doing an update because we have gotten some phenomenal tips. We need to verify some of these tips, because if they're not accurate, we do not want to get in trouble for slander. And I am a firm believer in fact checking and not doing rumors. I can say the tips do all point to Matt Brewer, and I am okay saying that on air. I don't know if the tips are honest and true, but once we can get some clarification on that, definitely we will have an update on Chase. We've run into some issues in that legal area of being careful about releasing, but I am hoping within the next couple of months we can do an update. We are also looking into having another event for Chase in July, the weekend he went missing, so that we can honor that and get the word out again.
Awesome.
So
Awesome. You know, it'd
I
be great.
want to say,
And I'm gonna put you on the spot right now. It'd be great if we could live stream that event if you end up doing it.
oh, abso-freaking-lutely, we would do that.
That would be really cool. I
Abso-freaking-lutely.
think people would enjoy that.
Yeah, because
You know,
his
I do
parents will
want
be
to.
there, his family.
Right. I do want to remind everybody, you know, on March 21st, we're going to be doing a show for members. So if you're not a member, if you haven't been gifted a membership, you can click on the join button and you'll get that. Also, our live stuff in our live shows will be streamed to members as well, as a thank you for joining us and being a part of this community. So you will get the live show on top of any additional things that we offer to you. So that will be coming your way as well. And we're very excited about that because it's not just going to be the same show every time. Depending on where we're at, that's the case. We're going to try and grab a case from the location that we're going to be at because that's obviously what they're interested in, right? That's what we're interested in.
I mean, I will be honest. I would love it if we could find a venue in Houston or Crosby that wants to host us and us cover Chase's case from the beginning, local. I mean, I would just be on it. I mean, I would love that. So if anybody is watching that lives in that area, you know, if you know of a place, please would love to do that because I would invite old Addison and Matt to come on down. So, well, I want to say thank you for joining us on Valentine's Eve because tomorrow is the most magical day of the year. Yes, Sammy Sunshine, I said it. Valentine's Day is tomorrow, and I hope you all have a wonderful Valentine's Day. And as always, stay safe, watch out for crazy people, and enjoy your wine time, your cocktails, and have some chocolate.
And as I always say, thanks for tuning in. Take care of yourselves, your friends, your family, and your community. Please don't let anybody dull that sparkle. Damn it. That's not usually part of it, but I'm going to say it anyways. Shine on. Shine on, you crazy diamonds. Shine on. Thanks for joining us, and we will see. Well, Teri will see you next week for that interview.
And JT may be overboard. We will find out.
I might be part of a court TV case. Who knows? Bye, everybody.
Bye.